it's Christina from Pretty Distressed. In today's video, I'm taking this desk that I saved from the landfill and I'm giving it an all pink makeover in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm gonna be spraying silk, which is an all-in-one paint. I'm gonna be doing something really fun with the legs and adding a transfer, so this is gonna be a good one. So if you wanna see this makeover, just keep watching. This is the Vanity desk I'm going to be pinking out today. I got this piece for free from a friend, which I love because I can have a lot of fun playing around with pieces that are free. I was taking this hardware off because it's broken. I was having a lot of trouble with it, trying to pry it off because I couldn't find the screws. Well, then I realized the screws were hidden behind this weird pink felted drawer. So I had to rip all that stuff up. And then I finally found the little screws under here so that I could finally get the hardware off. I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's Silk all-in-one paint today, so I'm going to need to clean it and scuff sand it before I can paint. So I'm starting with White Lightning. I have it in my spritzer bottle. I'm just dousing this down with White Lightning. And I'm going to take a scrubby sponge and just clean all that dirt and grime off. And then I will take some clear water and rinse everything away. This used to have a mirror, so it had some really big holes in the back to hold that up. So I'm just using some wood epoxy to fill these really, really deep gouges. And then I'm going to take my Dixie mud and I'm going to touch up any little dents and scratches I see on the top and the sides of the piece. I gave everything a couple of hours to dry, and then I'm coming back with a 220 sandpaper and smoothing everything out. And since I'm using silk, I'm going to give my entire piece a scuff sand with that 220. This is just recommended with that paint to help it adhere better. And I'm using one of my foam abrasives to help me get all these curves and details. Once I'm done sanding, I'm going to wipe back all my dust that I created, and then I'm going to take some Dixie Belle Boss in clear just to go over these spots where the wood is exposed. I'm going to seal that in so none of those tannins come through on my paint. Silk does have its own stain blocking primer, but I find it is a very good idea if you have any exposed wood like this to just give it a touch up with a little bit of primer. This piece is really cheap, but the legs surprisingly are all wood, which I could tell by some areas that it was scratched up in. So I'm going to remove all these legs. I sanded one of the legs with these attached and realized I was going to be able to get into the little detail areas a lot better if I removed them. I'm going to be spraying my piece today, so I set up my pop-up tent and I'm putting some drop cloths down, and then I'm setting up some saw horses. Pretty sure that's what these are called, and propping my piece up on there since I took the legs off. So I'm going to be using Conch from the Silk all-in-one mineral paint line from Dixie Belle. I've wanted to use this color forever, so I'm really excited to be using it today. I'm just straining out my paint, putting it into my spray container, and for this paint, when you water it down, you only want to water it down when you're spraying, and you only want to use 1 ounce of water per 16 ounces of paint. I've only sprayed silk one time, but I love the way that it sprays. It levels out really beautifully, and it's already going to be sealed because it is a primer, stain blocker, paint, and top coat all in one. I'm going to be using my detail nozzle from my Wagner Flexio 3000. If you want any tips and tricks on this particular gun, I have a whole video dedicated to that, so definitely check that out if you're looking for more tips. Once I got all my settings where I wanted them, I'm just going to go ahead and start off my piece and make a steady stream across here. Oh my gosh, you guys, the coverage with this silk is insane. Like, on such a dark color and this pink going over, I mean, 1 coat looked like it would have been enough. I'm definitely going to do 2 coats, but it's so easy, you guys, to spray. I know it takes a lot of setup and then you have to clean your gun, but this just went really fast and I love the way that it went on. Okay, while that first coat dries, I'm gonna hop over to my legs, and I just put my foam pad on here, and then I'm gonna put a sanding screen. This is a 80 grit, so it's really good for stripping. And this went pretty quickly. The thing I love about the surf prep is that it didn't damage the rounded legs on here at all because of these foam abrasives. It really helps you maintain the integrity of the legs. So once I got them all stripped down, I decided to do a matching wash on here, but you can't create a wash with silk. But they do have a color called Tea Rose in their regular chalk mineral line that is very similar to conch. So I grabbed that color, I'm dipping in my brush full strength, and then I'm taking a cup of water and I'm gonna dunk that paint in my water to create a wash on my legs. Now, this is the first time you guys have seen me do this technique. I usually do mix my paint and my water in a separate container, but because I wanted this to be a little bit thicker than I normally do my washes, because I really want that pink to come through and kind of give a monochrome look to my entire piece, because I want it pinked out, this adds a lot more pigment by going straight with your paint and just kind of thinning it out by dunking it in that cup. And then I'm doing the same thing that I always do, taking a lint-free cloth and just wiping back any of that excess, and I'm just doing that on each one of the legs. I let my first coat dry for about 2 hours, and when I came back, I am shocked at how smooth it is, you guys. This levels out so good with the paint gun. So I'm just going on adding my second coat. I did keep my paint in my gun and just stirred it up a little bit before I started that second coat. If you're letting this sit overnight, you definitely want to clean out your paint gun in between. But it went on perfectly. No issues, no clogging, no nothing. And second coat went on just as easy as the first. I really overestimated how much paint I needed for this. I poured the remaining back in the canister and I only used about 1/4 of this 16-ounce can to paint the piece. Once this dried, it looked absolutely beautiful, and like I said, this is an all-in-one paint, so the top coat is built in, so she's ready to go. I'm ready to put her back together. I was just checking the legs to make sure that it looked good, because I've never done like a pink wash, a monochromatic wash on legs before, and it was looking pretty, so I decided to go ahead and put them back on. Once I got her all back together, I decided I wanted to put a transfer on the sides just to give her a little something something, because she's so fancy with these Queen Anne legs, and I thought this lace transfer was just going to be the perfect accent. It's really subtle, like on light pieces like this, it kind of has like a gray or like a purplish undertone, but if you were to put it over a dark piece, it would almost look white. So I kind of love how this goes with, you know, a bunch of different pieces. I cut this transfer down to size and then remove the protective backing, and then I'm just taping it in place so it doesn't move while I am transferring it onto my piece. And I'm just cutting off the excess to make it a little easier for me, and then I'm just taking my stick and you just rub this on here and then pull it back to get it to release from the actual transfer sheet. And it's basically like one giant sticker. And I will tell you, one like this that's very detailed and very fine, it's not like putting on like a big flower. I feel like those ones are easier. This one that's very detailed, it's a little bit more tedious and it takes a little bit longer, but the end results are really beautiful. So I think it's worth it. So I finished that first side and I'm just flipping it over and doing the exact same thing on the other side. When I'm done adding the transfer, I just take a super fine rad pad and I'm gonna remove the excess from the bottom. And then I'm gonna take this and lightly go over the entire transfer. If there's any edges or little wrinkles sticking up, this is gonna help smooth those out. To protect the transfer, I am going to add Dixie Belle Clear Coat in Satin, and I'm going to use my angled mini to apply it. I'm just cleaning off all the dust, making sure it's really clean, and then I'm just going to seal the whole thing. Not only is this going to protect it, it also really helps blend in the clear edges of the transfer and just makes it look really seamless, and this satin finish is going to match the silk low luster finish. And the last thing I'm doing is adding some new hardware. Okay, who's ready to see my pinked out piece for Breast Cancer Awareness Month? Here she is. I love her. She is so cute. I love just the subtle pop with the transfer on the sides. I am obsessed with these monochromatic legs, you guys. I did leave them raw. I didn't seal them. You definitely could do that, but I just love the way they look so much. I just did not want to touch them. And the silk, you guys, is so smooth and beautiful. Thanks for being here, you guys, and I will see you next time.